Good evening and welcome to the February 10th, 2026 meeting of the East Long Meadow Town Council. I'll call the meeting to order and ask that we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I would ask that we take a brief moment of silence to reflect on all of the events going on, both here and abroad. Thank you. In accordance with Mass General Law, this meeting is being recorded by LCAT, and if there's anyone else in the audience recording, if you could identify yourself. See no one else? Public comments. Is there anyone in the public that wishes to make a comment this evening? No one in person or on Zoom with their hand raised. Council comments. Is there any councilor with a comment this evening?
I would.
Yes, Ralph.
Just want to thank the DPW again for taking care of the roads the way they do. I get the opportunity to drive through multiple towns, and truthfully, ours by far are done so much nicer, so much better during the storms. I'd also like to give them a shout out. I called this morning. I reported a water main break on Shaker Road, and it was inside of a business, and they responded immediately. And when I was leaving, they were looking for the major shut off to the building. But again, they were there extremely quickly and looking to help out. So great job.
Excellent. Any other comments? No? Great. Town Manager's report. Hi, Tom.
Hi, good evening. Attached, we have 1 week's worth of reports because of the late report last time. So you got 3 last time, you only get 1 this time. Again, the link's on here, and for those watching at home, you can get updates on the project at eastlongmeadowma.gov /ELHS building project. Coming along great still. It's quite the project. So at the end of January, Mass Department of Revenue's Division of Local Services published the preliminary cherry sheet estimates based on Governor Healy's FY27 budget recommendation. The town received a 2.5% increase in unrestricted government aid, 1.1% increase in Chapter 70 funding, for a total increase of 2.2% over FY26. We did get some increases in regional transit and tuition assessments. So we're looking at 262,000 net increase over last year. I wrote modest. That was the word I chose, and I'll stick by it. Obviously, this is going to change a bunch of times between now and the original submission in April, and then June and after. So we'll keep an eye on that, and we'll keep everybody updated. The Capital Advisory Committee has begun the process to formulate the capital plan for FY27. Following the retirement of Diane Bishop, Peter Garvey has graciously volunteered to fill her spot on the committee. Peter is Director of Capital Asset Construction for the City of Springfield. So we're happy that he's bringing his talents to that committee. He's joined by returning members Ryan Quimby, the chair, Deputy Town Manager Lisi, Town Councilor Anna Jones, Paul Federici, our old friend, and our other old friend, Rich Ficero. I want to thank them. Obviously, we get a lot of submissions for capital every year. There's a lot of projects to go through. They have a very sort of streamlined, efficient process to hear from the submitters, and sort of go through every project and populate that plan. So thanks in advance to all that time and work that they will put in. Kim and I participated in a regional community roundtable last week on Friday, focusing on budgetary challenges facing municipalities in the current economic climate. Local officials provided input on a variety of topics, including health insurance costs, which we're all aware of, educational expenses, local revenue, and the override procedure, which unfortunately is becoming more and more common in the communities across the Commonwealth. The overall tone and the reason for us getting together is these are issues that we all have to face all the time. Sometimes it's this year, sometimes it's the next year, but everybody's dealing with the same thing. And to just bounce ideas off each other and figure out who's doing what and why. It was a very, very good morning on Friday. Thank you to Lisa Wong and the town of South Hadley for facilitating that. Lisa's our organizer. We all are always gung-ho to get together, but she always makes it happen for us, so we appreciate that. There is a link to that webinar. It's at southhadley.org/Western Mass Roundtable. I think we were together for about 2.5 hours. There was those 4 modules that I mentioned, and just some discussion and Q&A on what people are doing to sort of deal with these issues. I'm pleased to report that the town, I'm gonna have to change this, has entered into agreement because right before I got here, Mass DOT updated the agreement and sent it back over. But the municipal pavement program, which is, we've been waiting for an update for Prospect Street from the Connecticut line to the Rotary, and Summers Road from the Connecticut line to the Rotary. So they've finished all their estimates and the scope of work, which I provided. I think the dollar amount in that agreement that you have has changed a little bit, but it sort of provides a good outline for what the scope of the work is going to be and what it's going to look like when it's done. And so there's no final timetable, but the agreement expires June 30th, 2027. So I assume they're doing this spring, and we'll get out of Dodge pretty quickly. So, but I will keep you updated, obviously, on that process. But that's it for tonight. For now.
Thank you, Tom. Any questions? Ralph?
Thanks, Connor. As far as the Mass DOT doing Summers Road and Prospect.
Yep.
If I read the agreement correctly, it looks like they're also going to be doing the manholes and the stormwater, the catch basins and stuff. Which I know last year we had started running around trying to lift them and replace them and stuff.
Yep.
I mean, did I read it correctly that they are
Yeah.
going to be?
So they'll do any repairs they need to do. You mean because the details and the scope were in there to do those things?
All of it was in there as
Yeah.
covered costs.
Right. Those obviously won't be part of the cost if they've already been done. And so they,
Yeah, exactly.
DPW.
No, I realize that. I just, this way here, our DPW doesn't have to run out and do
Right.
them if they're actually gonna be contained in the project.
Yeah, the ones that they had started on were ones that were already on a list and were pretty bad. And I don't know that they would have been covered in this project. And I think that was the conversation that Bruce and Mark at DPW were having with DOT, was typically that item would be like down a foot. They're not gonna go all the way down and make all the repairs that we might wanna make. They're only gonna go down to the cover and then maybe 3 or 4 courses of brick. And that would be the end of that item.
Okay.
Anything else would be more.
Is there anything that we're going to need to do in advance, over and above what they're gonna do, that we should allocate funding for?
It doesn't seem so, but again, they'll have some sort of preliminary meeting with DPW so that we can,
Okay.
sort of like a tailboard, like to figure out how the project's gonna go. Obviously, that's a long construction site and it's gonna be that way for a while, so we'll have to have a pre-construction meeting with them to figure out detours and things of that nature that they're gonna want our input on.
Yeah.
Because we don't wanna send people down certain roads.
I just
all
wanna
the
make
time.
sure if there's any minor things
Yep.
that they're not gonna cover that we should do beforehand, that, you know, there's nothing worse than to see a road repaved
Right.
and then a month later have someone come through and start digging up, you know, your brand new road.
When does that happen?
If we could do anything ahead of time, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, outside of, you know, the other entities, if they have anything in the roadway in terms of gas or, I don't know. I don't know what Mass DOT's conversation has been with the gas company. or what that looks like under Summers Road, say, the entire length of the street. But
They would never get it done in time, something like that. I was
Right.
just thinking curbing or something.
yeah, I think that that'll be part of that preliminary meeting to see
Okay.
when we don't even have a schedule yet, really, so.
Within 2 years, by 27. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Any other comments or questions for Tom? Okay, seeing none.
Thank you.
Under communications, correspondence, and announcements, the first one that I had this evening, thanks to Tim for his idea, at our next council meeting on February 24th, we'll have a discussion about the recent news story about the police department investigation that had previously been conducted. But in advance of that meeting, if by next Tuesday, February the 17th, if any counselor has any questions that they want answered or that they think residents might have that they would want some Q&A about, submit them to me. I'll compile them all and then work with Tom to see which ones we can and can't answer in an open session meeting, and then we will discuss that at our next meeting.
Awesome.
Then the second correspondence was just an update that our deputy town manager had submitted the EPA Brownfields grant that was discussed at previous council meetings, and that was also sent to all of you as well for your information.
Viewing pleasure.
Thank you again, Rebecca, for putting that all together.
Quite impressive.
Very, very detailed.
A lot of work in a short period of time. Okay, let's see. We're still a couple minutes early. I would entertain a motion to move out of order to financial matters until 6:15.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. First order of business under financial matters is accepting a $100 donation from the Rotary Club.
I move to accept the donation in the amount of $100 from the East Long Meadow Rotary Club for a special someone luncheon on February 14, 2026 for the Recreation Department for Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 44, Section 53A.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And since we still have a minute, we will continue to an update on the capital project status. This was something that I had requested at, I think, 2 meetings ago. When we had a previous financial update, we had the regular report from Munis on what the capital projects were and their current balances. But just to get more of an update on where each project stood in terms of its completion and what might be done or outstanding. So I don't know if anyone had any questions on that spreadsheet that we received.
It's a lot better than the Munis printout.
A little more detail on it.
I do have a quick question.
Sure.
Allen Street, the property. Has that been finalized yet?
No. We were very close to, we had a signed purchase and sale, basically. Then the attorney for the property owner let us know that he was no longer the attorney for the property owner. And so we tried to reach out to the property owner and then started the eminent domain taking process again. And then we received the call from another attorney who was representing, and so now we're back into a purchase and sale conversation. So hopefully shortly, nothing's gone quickly in this whole process, so I'm not holding my breath, but yeah, we should have something soon, but I'm hesitant to guarantee any timeline at this point.
Okay.
Makes sense. Any other questions or comments on the update?
I guess I would say that I do enjoy seeing the closed project list at the bottom. We cranking out a lot of work, which is great. And we should have another really good set of capital projects this year. As I mentioned, we just started that process, but as our debt has gone down for our policy, that means the amount of money that we allocate to capital will go up. So we have hopefully a pretty generous outlay this year to do some more much needed projects. So that's exciting.
Good.
And it is nice to see them all updated as well. I know many years ago, that list kept growing, all the projects may have been done, and so it's nice that things are getting done, they're being closed, and funds are being moved back where they need to be.
When I started at DPW, there was some 1990s next to some of those projects.
Wow. So, thanks for the update, Tom.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
We are beyond 6:15, so we will return to licensing matters. So now that it is 6:15, this is a disciplinary hearing for A to Z Food Mart LLC doing business as A's Smoke Shop at 611 North Main Street to consider evidence related to alleged violations of Massachusetts liquor laws and regulations. These allegations include but are not limited to 204 CMR 2.052, permitting an illegality to take place on the licensed premises based on evidence observed during the execution of a search warrant on January 28th, 2026, including the discovery of individually packaged pills suspected to be prescription medication offered for sale without authorization, and Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 138, Section 34, ongoing concerns related to the manner in which the licensed premises is operated, including prior warnings, concerns related to underage alcohol sales, and compliance with alcohol service laws as outlined in correspondence dated January 21st, 2026. At this time, the procedure that will follow for this hearing is quasi-judicial in that the town will present its evidence, any testimony or relevant facts that we have, and any documents that we have to these allegations. At that time, the council may ask clarifying questions of any of the information presented. The licensee will then have an opportunity to present any witnesses or presentation that they may wish to put forth. And then the licensee may also provide any alcohol-related policies, procedures, etc. that they may have, such as ID checks and training. Then the council may also ask clarifying questions during that portion. Then at the close, both sides will have the opportunity to present anything further. Then we will move to a deliberation portion, at which point the council will discuss any relevant facts and make a decision as to whether there should be any discipline, and if so, what that would be. And then we will clearly state the decision at the close of the hearing. So at this time, I would ask our folks from the police department to come forward.
Good evening, council.
Hi, Chief.
Nice to see you. Is this one good, Jamie?
Just for the record, this is Chief Mark Williams from our town police department.
Yes, thank you. Good evening, everybody. I'm here tonight speaking on behalf of the police department and in my role to share concerns that we have heard and now observed regarding the A's Smoke Shop. Going kind of chronologically, and I do have members of the department here with me. If the chair wishes to hear from them or recognize them, they are available to come forward. They all have certain pieces of information more clearly than I do, but I've tried to summarize it best here. So just sharing some concerns that the police department has heard regarding A's Smoke Shop and alcohol sales to minors, those allegations, and other things. Early in 2025, Detective Anthony Deaney received information about marijuana sales happening out of A's. He was not able to confirm that information or those allegations at that time. Around the springtime of 2025, Detective Deaney was made aware of an ongoing criminal investigation involving A's Smoke Shop, involving both state and federal agencies. Earlier in the school year, School Resource Officer Michael Healy started hearing rumors of A's selling alcohol to underage students. SRO Healy spoke with multiple students and school personnel about these concerns, and some students admitted to being able to purchase alcohol at A's without showing an ID at all. Some students also have admitted to buying smoking paraphernalia from A's that's prohibited to minors. On Halloween of 2025, the Long Meadow Police Department stopped a vehicle being driven by a teenager and located a case of alcohol inside of it. The teenager claimed he had purchased that alcohol at A's. In December, shortly before Christmas time, a parent stopped in to see me in my office, and he showed me an alcoholic beverage that he said he had just taken away from his teenage daughter. He told me that she had purchased it at A's and that she and other kids were regularly buying alcohol from there. He expressed frustration over the seeming lack of enforcement efforts, which I completely understood, but had my reasoning, and I'll make clear those decisions were solely mine on the steps that we took at that time and didn't take. Being aware that there was an ongoing investigation by other agencies and my desire to protect the integrity of that investigation, I told Detective Deanne and Lieutenant Manning and SRO Healy, we were all discussing these matters, and I said we would continue to monitor this closely. I spoke with the town manager about these ongoing concerns around the holiday period. And in mid-January, I was made aware of a warning letter that was sent by President O'Shea to A's. And at that point, we did have some of our officers working with the ABCC do a surveillance operation on A's on one particular evening, observing customers going in and out. On that particular evening, they reported during the surveillance period, it was very quiet and they did not see anybody who appeared to be underage coming out of the store on that particular night. Just some additional police activity that's happened there. In May of 2024, we responded along with the fire department for a report of 2 people in a vehicle outside of A's who were overdosing on drugs. The log notes that those parties were transported by EMS to the hospital. On April 30th of 2025, we responded for a physical fight between 2 men outside of A's. Officers found the men sitting in their car outside when they arrived. One of the men was clearly intoxicated. Store management did say that he was not welcome back and requested information on how to trespass him. On November 11th, 2025, police and fire personnel responded to A's for a report of an unresponsive person. Upon arrival, officers located the person outside of A's laying in the middle of Barnum Street. Officers observed the obvious signs of an opioid overdose and administered naloxone. The patient was then transported to the hospital. And now what perpetuated my request for this hearing tonight, specifically as President O'Shea noted, on Wednesday, January 28, 2026, a search warrant was executed at A's Smoke Shop as a result of a joint investigation by the Massachusetts State Police, Massachusetts Alcohol and Beverage Control Commission, the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, and other agencies. East Long Meadow police officers assisted with the search warrant execution. During the search of the business, East Long Meadow Detective Anthony Danny observed individually wrapped pills underneath the cash drawer in the cash register. The initial investigation suggests these pills are a prescription medication, sildenafil, commonly sold under the brand name Viagra. The packaging, as well as the location of these pills, suggests to me that they are being offered for sale, which A's is not legally licensed or authorized to do. As of this date, I'm not aware of any criminal charges that have been filed related to those pills, and we are deferring locally to the state and federal agencies to pursue any subsequent charges in furtherance of their ongoing investigation. Nonetheless, the existence of these pills could result in a criminal charge, such as possession of a Class E substance with the intent to distribute. From a local liquor licensing standpoint, the discovery of this is a possible violation of Massachusetts 204 CMR 2.052, which states no licensee for the sale of alcoholic beverages shall permit any disorder, disturbance, or illegality of any kind to take place in or on the licensed premises. The licensee shall be responsible, therefore, whether present or not. That is what I have for now.
Council have any questions related to the information that the chief has presented so far?
No.
I have a comment. Is it possible that, as the chief suggested he was giving basically a summary, if there was anything that he missed that our fellow officers might be able to add, if they were given that opportunity, that would be nice.
Of course. Yeah, now is an opportunity if any of them have anything that they feel isn't included in that summary.
I think we should hear from Mike.
Good evening, Council.
Good evening.
I'm Michael Healy, I'm the school resource officer.
Hello, Anthony Deani, I'm the detective.
In relation of being the SRO, I spoke to multiple students in a confidential setting regarding the purchase of alcohol at A's. It was very concerning, the information that I was being told. At some points, the students would be at the smoke shop and would observe students from East Long Meadow High School going into A's, purchasing alcohol, as well as students from other jurisdictions purchasing alcohol, as well as smoking paraphernalia that they are not allowed to possess as well.
Thank you.
He pretty much, he hit it on the head. We did attempt to start an investigation early on in the year, but during that time, I was made aware that there's federal investigations for felonious activity. So at that point, we kind of halted, and then we kept hearing more rumors in regards to students purchasing alcohol. Speaking to a confidential source, we were made aware that a large number of East Long Meadow students were purchasing alcohol from A's, and same with Long Meadow students as well. It was kind of like a known thing, but that's hearsay from us. But I think the chief and the SRO had hit everything.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions?
Can we question?
Yeah.
My question, Officer Healy, is in your interactions with the students at the high school, you say that you heard from a number of them about alleged violations, and that they themselves or friends had acquired products from A's smoke shop. Could you, for our purposes tonight, approximate how many students may have disclosed that type of information to you?
I spoke with two students with Detective Deani. Those students will obviously be unnamed, but these students themselves have made these purchases. I have a good rapport with these students. This information was brought to me while we tried to conduct this investigation. But in speaking and questioning the students, they made it very clear to me that they were not the only ones, and that it was pretty rampant, the amount of students who were going in and out.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you to the three of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And in terms of other evidence and timeline information for the record, there's quite a lot of it. There's close to 68 pages of information. So it starts back in 2019 when it was technically under a different LLC and under Zane's Smoke Shop was the doing business as name, where there were tobacco compliance check violations. And those continued all the way through, when was that? That was back around 2023, that ultimately their tobacco sales permit had been revoked at that time because there were numerous violations. While that was under a different LLC and under a different name, some of that original paperwork dating back to 2019 did have Ali Sher as the name, who is now the current owner of A's Smoke Shop. on it. And then subsequently, around 2023 as well, the ABCC, without the town's knowledge at that moment in time when they did it, there was a alcohol compliance check that was performed that resulted in a violation as well. And then that leads us to the allegations that have been made so far in 2025 and now bleeding into 2026, where we find ourselves at this hearing. Does anyone have any questions on any of that information?
The alcohol violation. I didn't
Yes.
see that in here.
Correct. That was something that I hadn't discovered until last night, so I sent that to you shortly before this meeting. That wasn't something in the records that I knew of previously, because that was something that the ABCC conducted outside of the town.
And when was that?
That was in 2023.
I don't have a question. I have a comment that I'd like to make as chair of the licensing committee. At the present time, the town of East Long Meadow has 29 active alcohol-related licenses in force. A's Smoke Shop is one of them. And I would like to tell you that apart from the reason we're here this evening, of the remaining 28 establishments, in the past 6 years, we've had one violation. And that violation was from a package store, inadvertently selling to a minor without checking for ID. That was an investigation that was done on the part of the ABCC. And at that hearing, the ABCC issued a warning letter to the licensee and stated that in light of their spotless record over 2 decades plus of being in business here in the town, that they simply requested that the owner re-educate all of its employees on the proper process for identifying whether an individual is over 21 or under 21. That said, we're here this evening for A's, and I'm looking at evidence of in excess of 12 violations since 2019. And we can establish, and some of the reporting from our health inspector establishes that Mr. Scher, in fact, was on the premise as a worker prior to his taking over ownership of the current establishment. So I want to be clear that though this hearing is about A's, Mr. Scher's affiliation with his business and with the previous owner, Zane's Smoke Shop, is one and the same. I want to make it clear that this is not an unsuspecting new owner who had no knowledge of previous violations prior to his assuming the license.
Thank you for that, Kathy.
Yes, Kathy.
Any other questions from the council at this time? Okay, seeing none, now is the opportunity for the licensee and any representation he may have to come forward.
Hi everyone,
State your name for the record as well.
I'm Ali, who own a smoke shop. So just want to clear a few things. I think on the 29th of what happened in January 29, 2026. So they have a warrant for Zan family. So Zan, he used to own until I believe end of 2024. And I take over from him beginning of 2025, and in whole 2024 I was before I was buying from him, so he had a lot of issues with the license, So he was having issue with the tobacco license, beer and wine. And I used to go to town hall like almost every day actually, to pay off his fine, because before I purchase from him, I want to make sure everything clear. Because the price he was asking me to pay him, I said, like, if I get license, I can pay you that much. If I don't get a license, I cannot give you like too goodwill for the store. So right now, like, I had some paperwork. So on the 26th of January, they were here for in the A Smoke Shop. Like, I'm not sure I'm allowed to share the information. So they were looking for Zen family. So they went to his home. They go to all of their business, and even though A Smoke Shop they came. And on the paperwork, I didn't see our name. And for the beer and wine, we have a training from the tips for all my worker and even though myself. And we are having like a lot of students, but they come with a Connecticut ID. And I can bring some evidence like they have a Connecticut ID, but right now we are working on ID scanner.
Some questions that I would, is there anything else?
Yes, so my thing is that like if a lot of student complaining, I would need help, like maybe from police department or anyone, like whoever buying from us, soon as they drive away, please check their, like they should search them. Because whoever come to us, whoever like from the camera, like we check their ID, and it's a mostly Connecticut ID under like 30-year-old. Mostly customer who getting under 30, they have a Connecticut ID. And if they're saying like mostly students, I will prefer if a police department can search them, whoever drive by from us, buy something from us, I would say they should have like search their car and themselves. Because once they walk in, we see their ID. And even though check the FBI, they took our DVR, on those footage, you can see whoever walk to our business, we ask the ID and they ask. And on the camera, we can see clearly.
Thank you. Some questions that I would have. So if I'm understanding what you had said, that the search that was conducted in January was because those other agencies may have been looking for something in relation to, or now the owner of the business since November of 2023. Why would Zane be connected to A Smoke Shop any longer?
No, about it, but Zan, he don't own it. So his brother live close by here. So they usually, one of his brother buying beer and wine, so he mostly stop by and buy and leave. And other his family member, they own a house on Dixon Street, Springfield. So the paperwork that I received from FBI, they have about, by law, I'm not sure I'm allowed to show you that or not. So I don't want to get in trouble by sharing this. So they were having like, they were searching. So they go to their home, to their business. And the paperwork I received, it was showing Zen Smoke Shop. And they stopped by at my location too.
And then the second question I have is, do you have any sort of written policies and procedures about your ID and compliance check policies? And if there is anyone that you turn away as a customer because they are underage or present a fraudulent ID, any sort of log those activities?
Right now we have like all the poster like from FDA. I received some, and some of them I buy from Amazon. So we post on our front door, on the counter, almost everywhere we put sticker. Must be 21 to buy that, and we check ID physically. Right now I'm still working. I'm trying to find a device where we can scan to make sure is that ID real or not. because by our chief, he present, so the only thing I can do, I can say that like from today, whoever buying from us, like I will say they should search their car, and I'm 100% sure they will find ID in their car. And we have a camera footage, whoever walk in, we check their ID, and we have a camera right on the counter where you can read ID clearly from that camera.
Does any counselor have any questions at this time?
Just one clarifying question. So you're saying that because people or these students have Connecticut licenses, they're harder to, I'm kind of just trying to understand, is that their license just harder to figure out whether it's counterfeit or not because of what that state does?
So on the ID, we mostly see 22 to 30 or 31-year-old, and mostly it's a Connecticut ID. But I don't have any device that I can check, but we can feel the ID. It's feel like the same as a Massachusetts, but it's a CT, and I can read the information that they're from Connecticut. But the only thing we are not sure it's a real or not. And for that, I'm saying if like East Long Meadow Police, they can in investigation whoever buying from us, they can stop and search their ID. Like
To your remark, I would say that, yes, the police can follow up, but the obligation rests on your shoulders to make sure that the ID, and we live in a world where with AI, you can pretty much make a duplicate of anything that will look real, and I'm not suggesting that's what's happened here. But I would say that, real or not, you're the license holder. It's on, you bear the burden to make the decision that it's real or not. And if in fact, East Long Meadow students have fake Connecticut IDs, I think that's irrelevant, because an ID, a legitimate state ID or driver's license, regardless of what state it's offered in, is good. The laws apply across the country.
yes,
I have, in the last 2 years, purchased alcohol in South Carolina while on vacation. And though it's very evident that I'm over 21, this particular vendor carded every individual that came in the store. So I'm not convinced that just because they had Connecticut fake or real IDs, that is a defense that you can use, unfortunately.
no, but on ID, all we have to make sure he or she, whoever walking, we have to make sure they are 21. And on the tip certificate, like they give us training too, they show a certain way to make sure its ID is real, but who don't have an ID scanner. So the thing I'm working on right now, trying to find some like device where we can scan the ID, make sure it's real or not. And whenever we check ID, it's like Connecticut ID or driving license, we make sure they are 21.
So those sorts of devices have existed for quite some time. Knowing when you acquired the business that there were a significant number of age-related violations in the past, and now continued allegations since you're assuming the ownership of that establishment, why have you not acquired a device to help you properly identify the age of customers so far?
So for the device, honestly, I've been trying to ask my like a rep, and I'm from Worcester side, so whoever I know they own it, they don't have it too. And I'm still working on it, trying to find if I can find the ID, because it make super easy for us. So I have to read, but right now we have a device where we just keep 21. I need something like ID scanner where we can find it's real or not. Not real with the star, but the other either did they print somewhere at home or from RMV?
Any other questions from the council? Okay, if there's nothing else, is there anything else that you wish to present this evening?
The only thing I can guarantee, if anybody walk from our store with alcohol, I can guarantee like as soon as they walk out, anybody can walk in, like they can search their car or they can walk in and check our camera, and our camera system will show that we check their ID, and even on the camera you'll be able to read their ID information.
So through the chair,
Yes, Ralph.
ID scanner, I just Googled it. It comes up multiple places to purchase it, for age verification, and we're talking under $1,000. Again, I haven't dug into it, but I think it's on the business owner and not on our police to verify whether or not someone's of legal age. And just looking at a fake ID and making sure that the age is correct is not appropriate. I mean, I've been to many of restaurants, bars and stuff that have to verify age. They take my license, they scan it, they hand it back, and it tells them instantly. And again, I do think it's on the business owner to verify this, and not for our police to be sitting across the street and stopping them to see if they've got a fake Connecticut license that fooled you. That's just my thought on it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ralph.
You can get an ID scanner on Amazon by Thursday for $649. So you know.
So right now we just got a what do you call that, credit card name machine. So I'm trying to find like someone like Mr. say that, like I'm trying to find the caching or register where we can like scan it. And I spoke with a couple people, but we still didn't find the right one yet.
Yeah, but maybe in the meantime.
I can order that today. That one.
It sounds like to me, though, you're relying on technology as an excuse, not as a method of verification. A simple, if it's fake Connecticut IDs, looking out your window and seeing Massachusetts license plates with someone with a Connecticut ID might tip you off that you got something going on there. So I hear like you're falling on the sword of needing technology instead of using common sense. So I just want to make that known, because all this talk about ID scanners, it seems hollow, quite frankly.
So the way our store is designed, we don't have any window. We cannot see nothing in a parking lot. So there's like a walking cooler, and whoever driving, like who don't know what they're driving.
If you're gonna be granted a license to sell alcohol, tobacco, the onus is on you, not anybody else. And it's another excuse of why something's happening in your establishment without sticking your head out the door. If I have 16 or 17-year-olds come in, it should tip you off. You know, there's a big difference between a 16 and, especially if there's more than one kid. There's a big difference between a 16 and 17-year-old. And what you're telling me, the majority of your IDs are 30-year-olds. That varies widely in the type of person walking in your door. And coming back and saying, I need an ID scanner, it sounds like you're trying to come up with an excuse of why you're not exercising just competence and common sense.
So
So instead of blaming Amazon, you know, it'd be nicer to hear some accountability instead of scapegoating on some. I mean, you don't pop up on a federal investigation by accident. That's major. This isn't a typical case of someone walking in to buy a pack of cigarettes. If you have state police and federal personnel at your door, that to me is a huge red flag. And you're stuck about talking about scanners. So that's just my observation on this. I'm incensed by it, to tell you the truth, as a parent.
the only thing I'm saying, a lot of agent, the like FBI and all other, they came, and I have a report with me. They were searching for the previous owner and his family member, and rest they all have a detail. But the only thing I'm not sure I have a permission, like
off of experience, I know that to obtain something like that, you need to go before a judge with probable cause to go into that establishment. They had a reason for being there.
Is there anything you wish further to add?
Not much, but the only few things we have to change it, like, because it's a smoke shop, but even though you search on Google, it still shows Zen Smoke Shop. And that's what I'm trying to say, like, they were here for them, and the paperwork, I received, they were saying their name and their business name.
That may very well be true, but at your business, during that search, they discovered what appears to be prescription pills under the drawer of the cash register. And if you don't have a license to sell prescription medications, which you wouldn't, only pharmacies and hospitals have those licenses, then you're in violation simply because you have a controlled substance on the premises, individually packaged, which would lead any person to think they're being sold individually. Whereas if you went to a pharmacy to get a prescription of either this medication or anything else, it comes in a bottle. And all of the amount is in one container. So regardless of scanners, regardless of whether the combined investigation and the search a couple of weeks ago was not necessarily directed at you, your shop was in possession of a controlled substance illegally. That you can't deny.
And on that front too, it would be one thing if you were arguing that it was in the container received from a pharmacy because it was whomever that was working behind the counter was next to their water bottle, and it was not in a manner that would be suspected for sale, but the fact that it wasn't in the normal container that someone would receive with their name and prescription
instructions.
details on it. So if there's no further evidence from either side at this point, it is now an opportunity for the council to discuss this matter and determine if there should be discipline and whether that discipline should be proportional to the allegations that were set forth this evening.
I'm very troubled by the fact that our resource officer is telling us, and as well as the chief, that in the resource officer's case, that students in this town admit freely accessing this establishment and purchasing alcohol and tobacco products. And the chief acknowledges that parents have reached out to him, acknowledging that their children, they discovered on their own, were in possession of products that they admitted getting here. To me, over and above anything else, that tells me that this establishment is a public safety hazard. And as someone who spent their entire career in education working with 10 to 15-year-olds, I'm incensed by the fact that these stories are coming forward, that we're putting every teenager at risk in this town by openly listening to this and taking no action. And in some cases, a teenager may take that product to his or her own house and have it accessible to a youngster. So from my vantage point, I think this establishment presents a health and safety hazard for this town and this school system.
Thank you, Kathy. I would add that I agree with the level of severity there, that it's quite troubling to, I think I would be in a very different position to make a decision if the evidence before us was only a couple pages and this was, oops, we made a one-time infraction selling to one person by mistake and we promise not to do it again kind of situation. But that is nowhere close to what is before us this evening with over 70 pages of material dating back quite a few years. And for those in the public that are following along to this, I do also want it to be clear that it is not as if the town hasn't taken action or taken steps. It's frustrating, I think, to all of us, even as counselors, that it took so long to get to this point. But there are also a lot of laws and regulations that govern these sorts of things. And so while prior to 2024, most, if not all, of the alleged violations and actual violations conducted by the folks that govern tobacco, that's governed by a different body other than the council, and that cannot be our sole reason for taking alcohol licensure disciplinary action, but it can help paint the picture about overall compliance at an establishment. And so without there having been alcohol-related accusations up until most recently, that is why the council has not discussed the matter until this point. Yes, ma'am.
Jim stated it the way I was thinking it. Thank you, Jim. We don't know why you're being investigated by the state and the feds for a criminal investigation. But as Jim said, that they're there. There's something that's happening in your establishment or on your premises that has initiated this investigation. That, in addition to what we're hearing tonight, I'm really troubled. I'm really troubled for our kids, our community. What's going on? I know you can't tell me, but the idea is it has to be something that's very important. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. And so for that reason alone, I really am not conflicted as to how I feel about this. Thank you.
Thank you, Marilyn. Ralph?
Through the chair. So I think violations, although the liquor is basically just coming to the forefront. I mean, I'm looking at the tobacco. I mean, even after the permit was pulled, there's violations of tobacco compliance check. As late as January 21st, 2026, we've received notice, but yet the permit for tobacco was revoked, back in 23. So, I mean, my concern is it's not just one thing going on, it's multiple things. It's non-compliance with the tobacco, dealing with tobacco without a permit. Then you have the pills that were discovered in the register. Then you have the resource officer talking about students. It's very well known, of which I have also heard for quite some time. I just think it's a snowball effect. It's not just one thing, it's multiple things happening at this location, which is extremely troubling.
Anything, John?
So I think I like a lot of what everybody's said so far. I think the biggest thing that struck with me is, knowing that we have the technology now, especially compared to some of these institutions, other license holders that have been here for 20, 30 years plus, they may not have had that technology at that point. It's very easy to be able to kind of check and verify these things. Most commonly, we're probably just talking mostly Massachusetts licenses. So we're not talking about a place that, an area that's going to have a ton of different folks kind of traveling through. We're a smaller community. Knowing that this record was there prior to this change of ownership, I think it was interesting to know that out of our 29 establishments, 28 of them or 27 of them have had no violations, and then one of them had a violation, but relative, not with this particular background prior to that violation. So that's definitely troubling. I mean, to have, this long, I mean, it's not like we're picking on one particular one. I mean, we're stacking it up against, a lot of other licensees in the community. And I would suspect even beyond going further back, that 6 years, we're probably not finding things to this degree. So yeah, I think it's quite a breadth of evidence. And, we received this a few days ago, but I think hearing it now all out in the open definitely lays it even more. It's definitely very concerning.
I think additionally for me is something that has been mentioned earlier, but I think also sticks out to me in what you had said in your defense is that, of course, while there is a role for our town's police department to play if there are students creating or passing around fake IDs, but that's kind of a separate matter that's not directly related to your establishment. As the license owner, it is still completely your responsibility to validate those IDs and not just check to see if the year and their date of birth is beyond a certain date. And the compliance training that you have has plenty of modules in it about identifying fraudulent IDs or things that aren't quite right with them that would lead you to be suspicious about completing that sale. So that alone gives me pause, but again, as all the other information that we've talked about this evening, it's also quite alarming. Can I say something?
Yeah, so obviously, everything I think that we have here is enough to bother us all. But I think your overall demeanor and your attitude towards it is kind of troubling. We're sitting here telling you that there's young kids coming in and buying alcohol, and the only thing you can come up with is, well, we ID them. It doesn't seem like you really care, because I think as a license holder, if you can't catch on that there's a bunch of young-looking 30-year-olds from Connecticut coming into your establishment often, that doesn't kind of say, why are they coming to Connecticut? I mean, why are they coming to East Long Meadow? Why do they look so young? I don't think you care. And somebody said, check their license plate. Well, I can't see from inside. Well, how hard is it to look outside? I think that bothers me, because this is our town and these are our kids and you just don't care. And that's very troubling. But on top of all this.
Or check the cameras.
Right. So
The camera, so we are outside camera, but the camera screen, it's in the office, but we can move on from the office, we can put on the other way. I just ask, we need, because I'm not saying I done my job now, but I want to make sure if something's happening, I would need everyone help to improve that.
it's not everyone else's job, it's your job. So again, just another excuse. So you can keep saying what you want to say, but it's not helping.
The search was conducted on the 28th. That'll be 2 weeks tomorrow. If you were that troubled by that search, why wouldn't you have gone out and bought the proper technology? As somebody said, Amazon, it'll be here tomorrow afternoon. Your argument doesn't hold water, sir. I would agree with Counselor Jones. I don't see any remorse here. I see a litany of excuses why, you can't go to the parking lot. It's a Connecticut license. I guess they might be under 30, but they're really 14. It doesn't add up. It's hollow excuses. This is not a town that has no regard for the safety of its citizens. This is a town who issues licenses and expects the licensee to be responsible and sell their product legally and ethically. You are not an example of that right now.
Again, what I find most troubling is the rationale of check the tape, you can read the license. That's a tactic that you almost instruct somebody to do. So if you have a compliance check, you can say, check the tape, we check licenses. It's willful ignorance. And what I find most troubling about that, if you take that one step further in terms of the willful ignorance part, you are knowingly selling controlled substances to kids that you know are underage, and you are knowingly putting kids in the line of danger. And we're almost there. February, prom season comes up, and you're selling alcohol to kids. I worked in the DA's office. I see what happens with kids. No matter what, every single year we had those tragedies. And by your excuses, you are actively contributing to the possibility of kids injuring themselves, hurting themselves, or killing themselves. So I think you should take a step back and really question the tactic that you're taking in terms of the excuses that you're making, because you're quite honestly not catching the severity of it. And some of the excuses that you are using here, to me, is telling me that you are aware of this and you're doing literally nothing to get in front of it. And it's effectively, like, I've been in this council for a year and a half. I've never had anything come before me that I could legitimately say is harming the health and safety of the children of this town. You're the first time something's come in to one of our meetings where I'm like through the roof on it.
I would also,
So going forward, like you just said, for the parking lot, like, I'm not saying like you're not going to check it, but going forward, we can put like camera on both sides. We can have a LCD right by the counter, so where myself or my worker, we can watch them. Like she said, also like we can read the lessons period too. So going forward, we can improve on those things too. And from the Amazon.
This is a report that we were provided. It's 65 pages worth of material. I'm a parent of multiple children in this town. You are knowingly putting them in danger, their health and their safety. That's all I have to say about it.
I think the summation of that for me as well is that it's not just a technology problem, as some others have alluded to. There are a myriad of things that you could do, even the old school way, and just checking IDs manually. There's lots of safety and security features that are built into every single ID across most states. It's holograms, embossing, etc. Difficult things to counterfeit. There are written policies and procedures that an organization should have about what their policy is regarding checking ages. And if you decline a sale to someone, logging that down. You've presented none of that information, none of those policies, none of those logs, none of those procedures that pretty much every other establishment in our town has and complies with. So it's not just an excuse to say you don't have technology or, we could put cameras in the future. These are all things that should have been done previously and have not been done. I think given all of that, now that we've discussed our opinions on the matter, to get to the decision-making portion of the hearing, I am of the mindset of revoking their license, and if it's the council's pleasure, I would make a motion to do so.
I'll make that motion.
I can make it if you'd like, or if you.
Which one, Kathy?
Both.
Here.
It's right here.
I'll make a motion I move that the town council, acting as a local licensing authority under the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 138, revoke the off-premise retail beer and malt beverage license issued to A to Z Food Mart LLC, doing business as A Smoke Shop located at 611 North Main Street, East Long Meadow, effective February 10th, 2026. Based on the findings that the licensee violated Mass General Law, Chapter 138, by selling alcoholic beverages to the persons under the age of 21, and 204 CMR 2.05 by permitting an illegality to take place on the licensed premises based on evidence observed during the execution of a search warrant on January 28th, 2026, following the notice in a duly noticed public hearing.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Given this, I'll do a roll call vote. You seconded?
I did, yeah. Just quickly.
Okay, motion was made and seconded. We will do a roll call vote. Jim?
Yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Anna?
Yes.
I'm a yes. Marilyn?
Yes,
Ralph?
Yes.
And John?
Yes.
Motion passes. Okay, given that, after a notice and duly held public hearing, the council has found that by preponderance of the evidence that the licensee has violated Massachusetts liquor laws and regulations, including 204 CMR 2.052, by permitting an illegality to take place on the licensed premises, and failed to demonstrate adequate management, control, and supervision over alcohol-related operations as required under Mass General Law, Chapter 138. The council further finds that these violations are not isolated incidents, but occur in the context of repeated compliance concerns involving age-restricted sales on the same premises, demonstrating a pattern of inadequate internal controls, insufficient supervision of staff, and a failure to take corrective action after prior warnings. Although the council does not impose this discipline for matters within the jurisdiction of other regulatory bodies, such as tobacco, it does find that the licensee's overall compliance history is relevant to assessing willfulness, credibility, and the likelihood of future compliance with alcohol laws. Based on the seriousness of these violations, demonstrated pattern of noncompliance, and the council's obligation to protect the public health and safety, the council finds that lesser sanctions, including fines, suspensions, modifications of conditions, etc., are insufficient to ensure future compliance. Therefore, the council has now effective immediately revoked the liquor license for this premises. As such, in Mass General Law, Chapter 138, Section 23, it is also the case that in the case of modification, suspension, or revocation, which in this case is revocation, a license issued by the licensing authority, being the town, there shall be no abatement or refund of any part of the fee that was paid for the license. Following this hearing tomorrow, the council will prepare its written decision notice, which will be certified mailed to you as the hearing notice had previously been. After the time that you receive that notice, you have 5 days to appeal the LLA's decision to the Alcoholic Beverage Control Commission, but otherwise the license is now suspended. As a result of that, alcohol must not be available for sale at your establishment. It must not be in view of customers so that they think that they could offer or purchase that product. And it must be legally disposed of from your property. It cannot be held there indefinitely. It's not something that the council can, or its agent, being the town police department, cannot confiscate the alcohol on your behalf. However, there are, through your own legal counsel, a myriad of ways that you are legally required to get the product off of the property. That could include returning it to the distributor that you purchased it from. You could sell or transfer it to another license holder in the Commonwealth. You could voluntarily turn it in. There's a myriad of other options that I won't enumerate on your behalf, but know that it can't just sit there in view of customers for them to purchase it. If you have any further questions, once you receive the letter, you could reach out to our town clerk and clerk of the council or the ABCC. But that concludes this hearing.
Thank you.
Good job.
Okay. Next on the agenda is approval of minutes. We have approving our January 13th, 2026 open session minutes.
I move to approve the January 13th, 2026 open session minutes.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. And we have approving the January 27th minutes.
I move to approve the January 27th, 2026 open session minutes.
I'll second that.
Motion was made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion passes. Next, under old business, we have our recurring 250th anniversary topic.
Oh, hi.
Tom? I know something we had brought up at our last meeting was the banners that could be on the utility poles or light poles. And I know Tom had a quick update on that front.
I did. I actually, I spoke with Jim White from Go Graphics this morning, actually. He's super excited and pumped, and since we didn't really have a whole lot of conversation about it, and I'm a right angle or it's a wrong angle kind of guy, he's gonna throw some designs together and maybe have some stuff to look at next time, and we can decide what you want to see, if you're thinking the same exact thing as the other one or something way different, or we're using the 250th that the state or the feds have already sort of kind of branded, or we do our own thing. I know we had, the Historical Commission had made up some shirts already about when we did the Shot Heard Around the World ceremony. We have something kind of going already. So I'll leave that up to the experts because I'm not artistic at all. I'm ashamed to say, but if you have any other ideas or strong feelings about what you think should be on there, I'd be gladly to pass them on to Jim, or just let him sort of. I don't even really know how the last ones got done. If that was like a contest or I don't know.
Any thoughts, Ralph?
I would love to see, we have a certain number of town residents who were in the Revolutionary War, and I'm sure our Historical Commission has a list of them. I'm sure there's nowhere near the same number as polls that we have, but it'd be nice to highlight their names on a few of them here.
Like Ludlow. So it was just
Did Ludlow do that?
No, I was just at the legislative breakfast at Ludlow Country Club this morning, and down East Street.
Oh, yeah.
They have all the banners of their veterans, their war veterans.
I have not
Is
seen
that,
that.
okay, is that something, is that kind of
Yeah,
what?
I was just thinking, maybe you take one banner with one person's name and then
Yes.
another one like that in different locations, mixed in with whatever else we choose. I just thought that'd be a nice way to honor them.
Okay,
Just a thought, again.
oh, that's great. Yeah.
Also, there's 7 of us, not just me.
Well, that's similar in,
Mine would have like a red, white, and blue 250, and then that would be my idea. It's not that cool.
Would you have any sense of what the parade committee might be thinking about for
We,
this?
last time on Thursday. Yeah, we're, well, Dawn is here also, with a 250th update, if you'll indulge her. I think she's all ready to go, right? Yeah, are you? Yeah. Yes. We had to regroup, obviously, after Tom's passing. The incomparable Don Starks is here to sort of let you know about a portion of the celebration, which is, I don't know how many of you know, and maybe I've mentioned, maybe I haven't, but we have a time capsule to open as well this year. So it's fun all around in 2026 in EL. So without
I'm on.
any further ado, Don.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, Don.
It's only a little freezing rain out there, nothing like an 18-inch storm.
Okay, good.
We're lucky. For the record, I am Dawn Starks, 28 Elm Street, and I am here representing the Rotary Club of East Long Meadows Time Capsule, of which I am a co-chair. And first, I'd like to start with It is with deep sadness that we acknowledge the passing of Tom Behan, Chair of the Historical Commission and the lead on the Time Capsule Project in celebration of our nation's 250th anniversary. Tom was the heart of the committee and filled our meetings with infectious enthusiasm. His love for his town and his country was only surpassed for his devotion to his sons. We, as a committee, are committed to making the time capsule a reflection of the pride he took in East Longmeadow. It was a shocker, and I think we're all still a little shell-shocked, and I'm not kidding about the enthusiasm. He had so many ideas, and he not only had ideas, but he took them and he ran with them, and very pleasurable to work with, and so knowledgeable. So we will truly, truly miss him. So the Time Capsule Project has three partners. The Historical Commission, which has Bruce Moore as chair and George Kingston as co-chair. The Rotary Club, which has Dan Burek as co-chair and myself as co-chair. And the town itself is a partner, which has been represented in many of our meetings by Tom Christensen. And we have met post passing of Tom and gotten everyone up to speed because there are a lot of moving pieces to this project. I'm not going to go into great detail, but I'll give you a rough outline of what is planned. We plan on exhuming the 1976 time capsule. We will have a kickoff party to begin collecting items for the 2026 time capsule on May 30th. So we're talking 2 time capsules. We have plans for an Independence Day parade float, the burial of the new time capsule, and retrieval and examination of what is buried in the 1976 time capsule. And our intentions are to return any items that are buried in it to any locals who are still around, or their families, or their businesses. It should be very interesting and fun to see what was buried there. We've also reached out to some local dignitaries, like our 1976 Miss East Longmeadow, Karen Hand. And so we are inviting these people to the kickoff party. You will be invited, as well as our state legislators. And the Historical Commission has been busy being detectives and looking at pictures and identifying people, wow, 50 years ago. Many are still around, so I think it'll be a lot of fun. I remember bits and pieces. I'm telling you, I'm fairly old, and it was great fun. The entire celebration of the 200th was a lot of fun, and I think especially for the kids, it's something they'll remember, and it's a great community activity. And I love community activities. We want to involve and engage everyone, businesses, residents, young and old, anyone who has an interest in this town. So I think that'll be great fun. So we've been reaching out to various community members, and we've been looking for donations, be it monetary, material goods, or manpower. To date, we've received a grant and CPC funds as well. So we're off to a good start.
Almost. I think they still need to say yes to the CPC.
We are also planning on building a publicity campaign, which one of our building blocks actually started with, I don't know if you all saw, there was an article in both the Republican and the Reminder about the time capsule and 1976. So we thought that was a really good start. Raise awareness. I don't know that people realize that we do have a time capsule. There are several in town, but we are focused on the 19th.
Keep finding more.
Yeah, I know. So it is buried in Heritage Park, and it has a lovely stone there, and it got cleaned last year. Bruce Moore cleaned it, so very easy to find. So we're outreaching to everyone. We will get the message out, asking for submissions. And before the question of what can you submit, we are refining that. There's only so much space. I saw a time capsule, I forget where it was, but it was open and they had a car in it. I don't anticipate anything like that, because the burial vault is not that big. Maybe a Matchbox car or something would be pretty cool, but, and we are also encouraging the town council, the school committee, the town manager, municipal boards and departments alike to start thinking about what they would like to submit to the time capsule, so that whoever opens it in 50 years gets a real sense of 2026, who was here, what did we care about, what did town look like? Sky's the limit as long as you can fit it into the proper form.
So we can't put our OPEB in there. It's not big enough.
So keep an eye on future updates, and we're thrilled to be a part of this. I dug out I found it, a bicentennial cookbook. And really interesting to read all of the businesses. Some are still here, many are not, and the recipes from people, names you know the last names. So I think it'll be just a lot of fun. And we need fun, right?
Yep.
Yes, we do.
Tons of it.
So,
Thank you.
any questions? I probably can't answer them.
Ralph, go first.
Are we looking to bury the new time capsule in the same location, knowing that Heritage Park may have a makeover, or are we looking at other areas?
So,
Still up in.
right, it will be in Heritage Park. We had that discussion the last time that we need to talk to Bruce, because we know, just since the last one was buried, the road has moved a little. We know that the road is going to be completely redone and the park has plans. So we will be checking with DPW to make sure that, because the thought was, let's bury it, if we can, in the same place. If not, there's a lot of land and we'll figure it out, that's for sure.
Across the street.
Yeah, the layout for North Main as it sits right now, that will remain an open space, so it shouldn't be a problem. And on the other side is our design for Heritage Park, so if we want to incorporate the time capsule and the monument, that shouldn't be a problem. But it's something obviously that we're keeping our eye on, because that's why we're not doing Heritage Park yet, because the last thing we want to do is do a bunch of work and then rip things up after the fact. We fancy ourselves better planners than that.
So when you look at it, you think, oh, there's some things to be done, but there's a lot.
Yeah.
Dawn, isn't there another capsule at Heritage Park?
Right next to it, isn't
I
it?
know there's one at the Little Red Schoolhouse
No, because I was involved with
with
one, I'm kind of old. That was done when I was in the Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I think the Centennial is possibly there. The town
Yes,
Centennial
yes,
is
yes.
possibly there as well.
So I thought they were just
It's close
side by
by.
Next to
side.
each
Yeah.
other.
yeah, and I don't know when that,
Okay.
all I know is this one gets open, then,
Yeah, right.
yes.
We'll do a dig safe now.
This, we should become experts at how to, it's more involved than you,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
there's just exhuming it, the staging of it, opening it. I don't know if it's a burial vault, so it's heavy. We don't know what condition anything is in. Hopefully, it has survived. That's the plus. We have to be prepared for anything, though. And then it will be a process. Historical Commission is going to kind of take ownership of this the process of the examination and all of that. But we want to make it as accessible as possible. But we will not open it right up and just start looking at stuff at the examination. We need to secure it and get a process going.
Great, thank you.
It should be fun.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you for that, and
Thanks,
of
Tom.
course, thanks for your hard work specifically, but also to the Fire Historical Commission and Rotary Club for taking
So,
this challenge
just,
on.
so the word is out that this is, the 250th, I think, overall, can be highly participatory for people and give them something to do and think about. So, hip hip hooray.
Thanks, Don.
Thank you, Don. In terms of the banners that we were discussing too, I agree. I think that highlighting previous service members is a good idea, because that's something that I think I had mentioned in the past, that other communities, like the company was called like Hometown Heroes, and they would put the banners with members on there. So I think that's a good idea to mix those in with whatever the rest of the theme ends up being.
Okay.
But yeah, I think, at least for me, I'm interested to see what sort of designs they have, and then we can figure out what we like and don't like from there.
Jim was excited when he hung up the phone, so I'm guessing he already started.
Any other thoughts or comments? Great. Under new business, we had the ADA self-evaluation and transition plan update.
Just got,
For a bit.
what did we just get?
The presentation, Marilyn. That's what I was saying, that just so you could follow along if you could. Sorry.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Floor is yours.
Okay, great.
Oops.
Here we go.
Oh, she was trying to hear the screen.
Megan, right now I'm seeing a main slide, but also I think, there we go. That looks good.
Okay.
Are you able to see an introductory PowerPoint slide?
Yes.
Should we just begin?
Yes, please.
Yes.
Okay. So as I hope you all know, the Institute for Human-Centered Design has been working with East Long Meadow to develop a self-evaluation regarding ADA compliance in the town. And Megan Dufresne, my colleague, and myself, David West, we're here to talk about that experience. Next slide. So the ADA, Title II, which applies to cities and towns, requires that state and local governments do not discriminate against people with disabilities in terms of their public-facing programs, services, and activities. And state and local governments must take steps to examine their programs and establish a plan for compliance with the ADA, with the law, which is part of what we've been engaged in with you. Next slide. In terms of the overall scope of work, we evaluated your program, services, and activities. We evaluated the town's website. We surveyed, looked at, and agreed a set of facilities. And we developed this self-evaluation, which provides comprehensive information about the current status of compliance and identifies issues that need correction and gaps in policies and procedures that should be addressed. Next slide. The basis for the self-evaluation first is the 2010 Americans with Disabilities Act standards for accessible design, which became effective in March 15, 2012, superseding the so-called 1991 standards. And that's a federal standard. And then the state code, 521 CMR, the regulations of the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board. We look to both of these standards. In the very few instances where there's any discrepancy, we err on the side of whichever standard yields the greatest level of accessibility for the residents of East Longmeadow. Next slide. So in terms of the goals, we wanted to be sure that the town's program, services, and activities, when viewed in their entirety, are readily accessible to and usable by people with disabilities, with the priority of ensuring what's called program access, with the goal of equal participation of people with disabilities. Once issues have been identified, the corrective implementation strategy should be integrated, hopefully, into town planning and budgeting. As we'll talk about a bit more as this goes on. Many things can be corrected at little or no cost, but some things do have a cost associated with them, and the town should plan to address those issues. And the overall goal is that all residents of East Longmeadow, regardless of their ability, feel that they know about and can participate in all the public-facing programs that the town of East Longmeadow has to offer. Next slide. So we provided some executive summary reports. One of them we call the Part B report, summarizes information about policies and procedures, and we generated data for that report by with assistance from people in the town, distributing an online questionnaire to the different departments that have public-facing programs, and we received responses from 9 departments. We also looked at the town's website for information, and of course interacted with town employees. Next slide. Initial good news is that the town has designated Audra Staples as the town's ADA coordinator. That's one of the things the town must do. We also found that East Longmeadow has a grievance procedure that can be used by town employees and members of the public. In terms of notice, which is declaring that the town won't discriminate on the basis of disability, the ADA notice is posted online, but the majority of department respondents stated that ADA notices were not posted in their departments, and that should be done. Next slide, please. In terms of modification of policies and practices and procedures when necessary, so individuals with disabilities can participate in public-facing program services and activities, the town has taken initial steps to comply with the ADA. However, publicized reasonable modification process, letting people know what steps to take to request a reasonable modification, would help ensure that people with disabilities can participate fully and know how to request whatever resources they may need. In terms of employment, the town's employee handbook refers to a non-discrimination policy and a reasonable accommodation policy. Reasonable accommodation, the majority of that slips over into Title III of the ADA, but you may know that town employees who are covered under the ADA, which means they have a disability that substantially limits a major life activity, meaning seeing, hearing, speaking, dressing, mobility, that kind of thing. They can request a reasonable modification at work. For example, someone who may have reduced vision and works in the town hall dealing with documents in electronic form may request say a large large size screen to be able to have things displaying a larger font, and that's a kind of accommodation that the town should consider after engaging in an interactive process with the employee. At any rate, half of the respondents believed that the town had developed a non-discrimination and reasonable accommodation policy, as well as non-discrimination in selection criteria and in the administration of tests, but steps should be taken to be sure that all public-facing departments know these policies and understand them and know how to implement them and explain them when necessary. Effective communication when you have a public facing program, service, and activities. One that would be key here would be, for example, a town meeting. But you have to ensure that communication with people with disabilities is as effective as is the communication with people who don't have a disability. In this case, hearing, speech, vision disabilities are what are key. And the town has to take steps to provide effective communication. But from the department responses, it seems that clarifying how to do that would be helpful. As part of the modification policy, you should be sure that people know how to request services they may need. If, for example, someone needs a sign language interpreter for town meeting, or they want something there like CART, which is, as you may know, basically a large screen that has live transcript of the proceedings. Residents need to know how to request those things, how much lead time they should give you so that you can find, say, an interpreter or someone who can provide CART. And in other instances, the town should be sure to speak with, interact with the person who's requesting assistance to have effective communication. And because usually a person who needs something like that can let you know what method has worked well for them in the past. Do they just need something as simple as a document in large print, or are they talking about captioning perhaps for meetings such as this one, which may be recorded and put up on a website later? At any rate, you need to take steps to ensure that whatever is what needs to be done is done. And as I said, let people in the town know how to make a request for what they need. And when a request is made, engage with the individual or individuals who are making the request and seek their input on how to meet their needs. Next slide, please. Now, I'm sorry, I'm going to transfer things over to Megan, and she'll begin speaking about what we found with the website report. Thanks.
So we had looked at the website with comparing it with WCAG, which is the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. And this is to ensure that it is accessible to everyone. We did a number of tests with things such as assistive technologies, such as screen readers and screen magnifiers. And we found a number of issues with the website. This is kind of a short list of major things that we found. So all text is obviously used to describe images for people who can't see the images. There were improper heading structures, which would make going through the web page difficult for a person using a screen reader, as well as keyboard and navigation problems. Oftentimes, images of text was used instead of actual text, and so this can't be read by a screen reader. And so these were some of the main findings in that report. We also looked at a number of facilities as part of the project, 6 municipal buildings, 4 schools, 3 parks, and 2 DPW buildings. And when we're looking at facilities, we have kind of 3 strategies that we can go to address inaccessible facilities. First, we can decide to relocate any program services and activities in the inaccessible building to an accessible location within the current facility. We could relocate these programs to an accessible location at another facility, or we could recommend renovating the current facility to ensure access to program services and activities. And so for each building or facility that we looked at, we submitted a kind of a two-part report. The first part is what we call the narrative, and this will be a basic description of the building and the programs that occur in the building, and things such as whether it has an elevator, where the entrances are, different layouts, and things like that. We go on to describe what the key accessibility issues are. And then at the end, we often give best practice and inclusive design recommendations. And these would be issues that go beyond the code. So they're not required by law, but they would help make the facility more usable to a wider group of people. The second part of each report includes what we call a catalog. And so this would be, it's pretty much a table of each issue that we find that is out of compliance or where we're recommending some sort of renovation be performed or considered. And so for each of these, we'll describe the location, the room, the floor, what the issue is, any relevant measurements related to the issue, and then we'll give a recommendation for addressing the issue and a rough order of magnitude cost estimate for each issue. The other two parts of the self-evaluation and transition plan include a self-evaluation report, which has an executive summary of the project, and the transition plan spreadsheets, which is the second image on the page. This is meant to be a living document that the town can use for planning and budgeting purposes. So it's an unlocked Excel spreadsheet that has a list of every issue that we find in the buildings. The portion this on the blue side of the page is filled in by our organization after we survey. It's exported into Excel, and this is all the same information as was in the catalog on the previous page. On the right side of the screen is the green section is an area that the town can use to track renovations and to put people in charge of renovations for each issue. And so this is a good way to track issues as you renovate. And we also recommend, letting the public know as things are renovated so that they're aware that this is going on and the buildings or sites are more accessible. So I was just going to go over a few examples from some places that we looked at. The first is from the public library. Some of the issues that we found were excessive changes in level in the walkway outside. We looked at the accessible parking spaces. Some of the access aisles were narrower than allowed, and the signs were located lower than allowed, so they might be difficult for some cars to see. With the third image on the top, at the exit of the library, there's lack of a tactile exit sign, and this is what's required under the ADA so that people who are blind or low vision can find the exit doors. The first image on the bottom left shows a stairway, and we often find issues with stairways. In this case, the handrails were mounted higher than is allowed by the ADA or the MAB. The next image in the middle on the bottom shows a sink, and this was in a public area, and so it's required under MAB to have to be able to be used by a person in a wheelchair. So it has to be a certain height, and it needs to have knee and toe clearance underneath the sink. The final image on the page shows the meeting room, the community room, and there was a lack of an assistive listening system for people with hearing disabilities. We also looked at a few outdoor facilities, and these are a few issues that we found. The first three are from Heritage Park. We found some excessive running slopes that would need to be corrected. We found picnic tables, so any picnic areas, there should be at least 1 or 5% of picnic tables should be accessible and located on an accessible route where grass isn't considered an accessible route. The same is true of playgrounds need to be located on an accessible route, and this could be something as simple as stone dust or asphalt, but it can't be grass. And likewise, the Massachusetts Architectural Access Board doesn't allow or doesn't consider wood chips to be an accessible surface. And so in Massachusetts, you would need to use some other kind of impact attenuating surface to get to one of each type of play component. We often recommend poured in place rubber as it tends to last better and hold up better than other solutions. In Massachusetts, additionally, there needs to be a route going around each playground so that parents and adults are able to walk around the playground and monitor their children. At Brown Farm, the final image on the top row, we found a lack of an accessible route to a community garden. And so this was also grass, and we would recommend some sort of route such as stone dust or concrete leading to the community garden. Then we spent a lot of time looking around Pine Knoll Recreation Area. We found that there was a lack of an accessible route to several key areas, including the pool and several buildings. And so this would either need to be addressed. I know that there are significant slopes at that site. Either routes would need to be built that are in compliance, or else some sort of van or golf cart service would need to be provided to allow people to fully access that program. Then I guess additionally, there was a lack of accessible spaces, so spaces for wheelchair users to sit in team and spectator seating areas. And finally, there was a lack of accessible shower facilities. So we would recommend that even in gang showers, there should be grab bars at least one of the showers, and controls should be located within reach range. So thank you, and we're happy to answer any questions that you have.
Questions? Thank you for the detailed presentation. It was definitely a lot of information for us to digest, and we appreciate it.
All right. Well, if you have questions for us as you begin going through the identified issues and trying to correct them, you can always contact IHCD in the future as well.
Great, we appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Nice report.
Very thorough.
Next, under new business, we have the Maple Shade Roof MSBA project to proceed.
Hey. Well, Gordon stayed the whole time too, so.
He's here for more.
Oh.
Or if you have questions.
Okay, great. See, as long as I have Gordon's support, I've got it all. So this was, this project, I think, you know, is up for vote at the end of the month here for MSBA, which I don't want to use the phrase rubber stamp, but most projects that are accepted into accelerated repair, the vote is forthcoming, I guess is what we're saying. We wanted to keep the ball rolling here, and as sort of standard practice in the construction world, to do sort of a notice to proceed to continue along the design. So the Colliers was hired to do the feasibility study, which got us into the program, and in the interest of a timeline, meaning to try to get this designed, bidded, and start construction in a kind of a tight window, bless you. Thank you. I.e. when the kids aren't in school. We wanted to keep the ball rolling. And again, this is sort of a standard thing to say, give them a notice to proceed, not to exceed a certain amount of money, which has already been appropriated for the feasibility, but it was not appropriated by you for the design or a notice to proceed for part of that design. So I didn't want to sort of sign that notice to proceed, which I'm comfortable doing. I mean, we've identified, even if MSBA by some stretch of the imagination decides they don't want to participate in the project anymore, we've sort of identified a roof in one of our schools that needs to be replaced, and we need to sort of continue on the design no matter what anyway. So there didn't seem too much harm in moving forward with the design team to get this design, to keep it rolling while we wait for MSBA approval, with a sort of cap at, say, 100,000. I think there's still $250,000 left in the appropriation after the feasibility. So again, we would have some sort of cap at whatever it would be, like 3 to 4 weeks of design work by the time MSBA approved the project. And then we would have some sort of motion in front of you to do the whole project with, what are we at, 58% reimbursement? 56. So that wasn't information. Thanks, Ralph. And if you go back to we had highlighted for you also, back on the capital sheet, the money that had previously been appropriated for school projects is going to go to that project. I think to the tune of $800,000 thereabouts. So again, this is very standard practice, other than the fact that I'd like permission to do it because it's not how you appropriated the money in the first place.
Are there any questions that anyone has about it? If not, Ralph?
So looking through the documents, we're looking roughly 2.8 million total for the roof.
Yep.
If I remember correctly, and at 56%, it looks like 1.3 million roughly.
Okay.
MSBA, 800,000 there. So are we still looking to come up from the town for another 700,000?
We would, yeah, we have to come up with the balance of it.
Yep.
To finish the project, yes.
So the town will be kicking in basically 1.5 million, and hopefully with approval from MSBA, 1.3, bringing that to 2.8.
Yes. So, which I think was on the capital, pretty sure last year.
I wasn't sure. if we had
Yeah, we
appropriated
didn't
anything
appropriate yet
else.
because we're gonna need that special language
Right.
that MSBA wants, and that will come after the vote. What is it, the 25th, 28th?
25th, they have, do you want me to come on?
Sure, come on, you stayed this whole time, get up here. You don't have many of these left.
True. Just trying to make the town better before I leave.
You've been doing it for a decade plus.
Evening, everybody. Just to give you a sort of a larger overview, I think Mr. Christensen said that the overall project now with the schematic design being finished is projected to be 2.89 million, with the MSBA reimbursing us up to 56.48% of eligible costs. If everything were spent and how they break out their budget, the grant would be somewhere around 1.626 million.
And is that for an entire roof, or is that a portion? I read.
No, that's the entire roof. What they won't reimburse us for is roofing the modular classrooms.
Oh, that's what it is.
But in the 2.89 million, the modular classrooms are being roofed as well.
Okay.
They just won't reimburse.
No, as I was going through, it was hard to understand. It sounded like it was a portion of the roof, and I'm like, that's a lot of money for a portion of the roof. So, no, that's.
With the exception of the two peaked roofs, which were done in 2011, if you remember.
Okay.
It was an exciting winter back then.
I remember that. That's right.
Remember
That was in the auditorium of Birchland Park. We had that special meeting.
Nope, looks good. The information's awesome.
Yeah. Thanks for
A
putting
lot
the
of
information together. There's no other questions. I'll entertain a motion.
I move to authorize the town manager to issue a notice to proceed on the Maple Shade Roof project prior to and in anticipation of approval of the MSBA project.
Second.
Motion was made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
I think this is a great project. Like I said, I think it's important that we keep up our schools. So when something needs to be done, let's get it done.
Thank you. It's, the MSBA has been pretty good partners with us. And we've done, this will be our third accelerated repair. And obviously, you know that we're doing a core project with them. So I think.
We should.
What?
I think they feel that East Long Meadow is equally as good a partner. So it's a good way to go when you have that opportunity.
And it's great to see too that, you know, while everyone had focused on the high school, which was important, that we're not neglecting the other school buildings in town too. They're also receiving some much needed attention. Great. If there's no other discussion, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Gordon.
All yours will be very excited. Okay, thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Next under our agenda was our biannual review of the executive session minutes we had and whether any should be released or retained or otherwise decided. So since the last time we reviewed it, the ones that previously were green have now changed to gray since we approved the release of those. The red ones remained retained. I updated the review date for each of the ones that were retained, even if nothing had changed in them, history. But as of this point, really, everything since the last time we reviewed would remain retained thus far. So there's no questions or comments about that. I'll entertain a motion just for posterity, even though nothing's being changed since the last time, but at least it affirms that we have reviewed them.
I move to approve the recommendations relative to the release of executive session minutes as presented.
Second.
Motion was made, seconded, and thirded. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Next, for action items for our next meeting. That is. Let's see, next meeting is February 24th, Tuesday. We will have some information about the oil transfer station. I know that was originally something we were going to look at for this meeting, but Tom wasn't meeting with the DPW for their budget, and it was included in their budget submission until the 23rd, so by the following day, we'll have some updates on that topic. What did I note down from here? Oh, we'll also have the police department discussion. And then, as of now, that's the only thing that I have noted, but I know that there are more topics.
If you'd indulge me for 20 minutes or so, not right now, I mean, next meeting. Kim and I want to have sort of a high-level budget.
Of course.
Discussion, not only FY '27, but FY '30 and '40. So some of our reserve policies, just some like higher level stuff, not so much nuts and bolts, but sort of in light of our conversation Friday and sort of where everybody seems to be going with things, and some of these costs that are, at this point, there's enough historical data that we can project them to be in the atmosphere. We have to start planning for that, and we're not one of those communities that is looking at,
Right.
so an override. Yes, but projections 4 years out without major change, we are. So, and I don't mean to. We can obviously change things between now and then, but I think it's important that we all see what that road looks like if we don't do what we need to do in the meantime. So if that's okay,
Yes.
we would love to, there's a couple other financial things, but yeah, mostly sort of high level discussion on just some things, and then maybe some thoughts on allocation of some of our free cash ahead of budget cycle, in terms of hit a lot of our reserves. Again, I don't want to get too far down into the conversation that I want to have next time, but I think it's a good idea for us to move some money around, and we can talk about that too, because I'd love your input on that.
I'm happy to have that, because I think a lot of time we're always so focused about chasing the next budget year that it's good to take a step back and kind of see the long-range plan
Right.
for everything.
Great, thank you.
I have many questions for that.
Bring it on. Oh, and OPEB's on that list too. I wanted to make sure you specifically heard that.
I've heard that.
Okay, if there's no other action items, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion is made and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes, and we are adjourned at 8:09.